I'm going to bring in Stephen A. Smith, who's going to be with me for the rest of the time. And after Erica speaks, we'll talk about it. And I have something that I believe is a solution, Stephen. Yeah, we're seeing young people. I don't blame youth for this. I blame the environment that they're in, the extremism, and how susceptible they are, and how susceptible we see with some mentally ill people are. They're more susceptible to suggestions, some. We got to get young people talking the right way. I don't think watching you debate 20 people and take them on and take them down, we don't need any more of that. I think we need to have kids talking to each other, people talking to each other about what they want to see so that they can see how much they share as common concerns. So we'll do that tonight after she speaks. But I read your take on what was going on this, and I thought it was really intelligent, and it led me to want to ask you a question. What does it mean to you that this is pure animus in reaction to this and almost no, let's do better?
Well, it speaks to the degradation of our society that's been unfolding for quite some time, and how sad and horrifying living in this world has become, living in this country has become. We don't like to say such things like that because we've popularized America being the greatest country in the world, but the reality is that for a very, very long time now, we haven't behaved like that. We haven't behaved like that as American citizens. We haven't behaved like that as professionals. We certainly haven't seen our youth behaving like that with the lack of respect they have for their elders. We've seen our elected politicians acting like children, and belligerent children at that. And the combination of all of those things lead us to be, for lack of a better phrase, a leaderless society. And when you have no one to show you the way from a moral or ethical perspective, you're going to rely on what you decide to rely upon. Sometimes that's your own thoughts, that's your own venom, that's your own frustration. And most importantly, it leads to people thinking that their definition of solace or happiness to some degree, the definition of it is bringing somebody to the level of misery, down to the level of misery you're experiencing, as opposed to elevating themselves to a place and a plane where true happiness is supposed to reside. So all of those kind of things are the kind of things that come to my mind as a direct answer to your question.
What do you think happens next?
Unfortunately, we've already seen what happens next. Charlie Kirk, immediately upon his murder, his assassination, it was within hours when we saw leaders on Capitol Hill yelling at one another, blaming one another, calling one another to the carpet, showing very little decorum and very little willingness to work with one another to recognize that it's important to come together and understand the state of affairs that have existed in our country and what we've deteriorated into. Instead of taking that on, knowing that the cameras are rolling, knowing that American citizens are looking to them to show some level of decorum, to not give off the impression that Armageddon has arrived and the world is coming to an end, and instead making sure to articulate and really express and display a willingness to work together and to be decent human beings to one another. We didn't see that. We didn't see that. Instead, we saw the opposite. And so to me, it's going to get, I'm not going to say it's going to get worse, because I can't imagine it could get much worse than what's happened. Us witnessing a murder on all over the internet, streaming all over the place, where, I mean, I'm not going to get that image out of my head for a long time, Chris, to be honest with you. And that's what sparked me to say what I said, the way that I said it. I've seen a lot of things growing up in the streets of Hollis, Queens, New York City. I've seen people dead and what have you. What I've never seen is somebody talking to an audience of people with their kids right in front of them and their wife right in front of them, and all of a sudden their body jolts before completely collapsing in a lifeless fashion, and blood come gushing out the left side of their neck. I've never seen anything like that. And for people to speak about it in a way that's dismissive, or to point to some of the things that he may have said that antagonized and agitated somebody else, it's inexcusable for us to even have those kind of thoughts at that particular moment in time. There are people in our industry who would disagree with me. I don't give a damn about what they have to say in that regard. If you can't come to a conclusion that that was so god-awful and that was so heinous, and anything else that you could possibly say about Charlie Kirk's positions and what he had to say and his ideology and whatever, if you can't put that to the side for a moment and just speak to how awful this was, I don't know how much hope there is for that individual or us as a society if that's the kind of approach we're going to take.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.